You check your phone at 6 in the morning. 12 unread emails already. 3 meeting requests. A Slack message marked urgent. You're successful by every measure that mattered 5 years ago. The income, the corner office, the LinkedIn profile that makes old classmates jealous. But you can't remember the last time you took a lunch break that wasn't a working lunch. Your vacation days expire unused because things are just too busy right now. You've become the bottleneck in your own life. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Every promotion came with longer chains. The raise brought a mortgage on a bigger house. The impressive title brought expectations you can't ignore. You optimized for success and accidentally built a prison with better furniture. Your brain promised you that freedom lives on the other side of achievement. It lied. Not because success is bad, but because you're running hardware designed for a world that no longer exists. Your brain operates on a chemical called dopamine, not a pleasure molecule like most people think, a wanting molecule. The neuroscientist Kent Berridge spent decades proving this distinction. Dopamine fires hardest when you're chasing something, not when you catch it. The nucleus accumbens, a cluster of neurons deep in your midbrain, lights up like a Christmas tree when you're pursuing a goal. Anticipation floods your system. You feel alive. Then you get the promotion. The dopamine drops. Within weeks, sometimes days, the buzz fades. Your brain recalibrates. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You return to baseline happiness, no matter what you achieve. But there's a darker mechanism at work. Your prefrontal cortex, the planning center behind your forehead, excels at one thing: projecting into the future. It generates narratives. Once I make 6 figures, I'll relax. Once I make partner, I'll have leverage. These stories feel like logic. They're actually dopamine bait. Your planning brain and your reward system formed a partnership that keeps you running. Each success raises the threshold. The first big win felt enormous. The 10th barely registers. This is tolerance. The same principle that makes drugs require bigger doses. Your brain adapts. What once satisfied now feels ordinary, so you set bigger targets. Chase harder. The treadmill speeds up. Researchers at University College London found that dopamine neurons actually fire more when rewards are uncertain. Variability keeps you hooked. So your brain stays maximally engaged when success feels just out of reach. The moment you arrive, the neurochemical party ends. You're biologically wired to feel most alive while climbing, not at the summit. Comment a brain emoji below if you've felt the excitement fade after hitting a goal you obsessed over. In the caveman days, status meant survival. The man with more resources fed his children through winter. The woman with social standing got protection from the group. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies found that hierarchies were real but limited. You competed within a band of 30 to 150 people maximum. Your ancestors could see the top. The best hunter. The most respected elder. Achieving high status was possible and final. Once you proved yourself, the tribe remembered. You didn't reapply for respect every quarter. Evolution hammered this drive deep into your limbic system. The desire to climb wasn't optional. It was survival code written in neurochemistry. Those who felt satisfied too early left fewer descendants. The strivers outbred the content. You inherited their restless genes. But here's the catastrophic mismatch. Your brain still thinks it's competing in a small tribe. It hasn't updated for 8 billion people. The internet means you're now comparing yourself to everyone. Every feed shows someone younger, richer, more accomplished. The finish line that evolution promised you would reach, it doesn't exist anymore. Modern success is infinite scroll. There's always another level, another metric, another person doing it better. Your paleolithic reward system is trying to win a game that has no victory condition. It's like asking a fish to climb a tree. The hardware is wrong for the environment. The corporate ladder replaced the tribal hierarchy, but it's exponentially larger and deliberately endless. Companies design promotion structures to keep you hungry. They need your striving. Your biology makes you vulnerable to this exploitation. The drive that kept your ancestors alive now keeps you trapped in conference calls. Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton analyzed 450,000 responses for Princeton University. They found that emotional well-being rises with income up to $75,000 annually. After that, the curve flattens. More money doesn't buy more happiness, it buys different problems. Michael Freeman studied entrepreneurs and found depression rates significantly higher than the general population. 29% of founders reported depression. The most successful weren't immune. They were often worse off. The venture capitalist Jerry Colonna talks openly about his own breakdown at the peak of his career. Money in the bank, reputation intact, suicidal ideation on Sunday nights. Harvard's grant study tracked 268 men for 75 years, the longest longitudinal study on human happiness ever conducted. The finding? Relationships predicted life satisfaction, career accomplishment didn't. The men who prioritized achievement over connection reported lower well-being in their final decades. Success without intimacy created wealthy loneliness. Barry Schwartz documented the paradox of choice. More options decrease satisfaction. When you have 3 job offers, you feel empowered. When you have 30 paths forward, you freeze. High achievers accumulate options faster than they can process them. Every door you open reveals 10 more doors. The freedom you thought you were building becomes decision paralysis. The American Psychological Association found that executives have higher rates of alcohol dependence than the general population. The stress hormone cortisol stays elevated. Their autonomic nervous systems never fully relax. Even on vacation, their bodies remain in threat mode. Success didn't free them. It activated a permanent stress response. Then there are the counterexamples. People who stepped off the ladder deliberately. The lawyer who became a carpenter. The executive who took a 70% pay cut for a 4-day work week. Follow-up studies on these people show something strange. Their reported life satisfaction often increases within 6 months. Not immediately. There's withdrawal. But then a calm settles in that high achievement never provided. Comment a door emoji below if you've ever felt paralyzed by having too many options. Success isn't your enemy. Directionless success is. The trap isn't achievement. It's achieving things you never actually chose. Psychologist Barry Schwartz distinguished between 2 types of freedom. Negative freedom, freedom from constraints. Positive freedom, freedom to pursue what matters. Most high achievers maximize negative freedom. They eliminate financial stress, build impressive resumes, accumulate options, but they never ask the harder question: freedom for what? Research from self-determination theory shows something unexpected. Autonomy increases well-being more than resources do. Autonomy means acting from internal values, not external pressure. You can be wealthy and have zero autonomy. Every choice driven by expectations. What the board wants, what the market demands, what your parents hoped for. You're free to do anything except what you actually want. Here's the counterintuitive part. Constraints can increase perceived freedom. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that people with limited options reported higher satisfaction than people with unlimited options. Why? Because constraints force clarity. When you can do anything, you do what others expect. When you can only do 3 things, you choose what matters most. Some successful people do feel free. Researchers studying this group found a pattern. They designed their success around predefined values before climbing. They knew their enough point. The author who wanted to write full-time set that as the metric, not bestseller lists. The entrepreneur who valued time with kids built a business that closed at 3 p.m. Same drive, different compass. The difference isn't ambition, it's authorship. Did you write the script you're following, or did you inherit it? Most people optimize for metrics they never consciously chose. Salary benchmarks, peer comparisons, parental approval. These become invisible operating systems. You think you're choosing. You're actually running someone else's code. Freedom isn't reaching the top. It's knowing why you're climbing in the first place. Start with the Freedom Audit. Take 1 week and track every hour. Not what you accomplished. What you chose versus what was obligated. Use 2 columns. Time sovereignty. Time obligation. Most high achievers discover a brutal ratio. 80% obligation, 20% choice, sometimes worse. Now the kill metrics exercise. List every measure of success you're currently chasing. Income target. Job title. Social media followers. House size. Whatever. Next to each one, write 2 words: fear or desire. Be honest. Are you chasing this because you want it, or because you're terrified of what happens if you don't? Most people find that 70% of their goals are fear-based. You're not building a life. You're avoiding shame. Cross out every fear-based metric. Not forever. Just acknowledge that these aren't your goals. They're defense mechanisms. Now look at what remains. These desire-based targets, rank them. Force yourself to pick a top 3, not 5. 3. This is your actual compass. Next comes the hardest part, strategic failure zones. Pick one area where you will consciously underperform. Let one ball drop. Maybe you stop responding to emails after 6 p.m. Maybe you skip the networking event. Your nervous system will scream. This is the addiction withdrawing. High achievers are terrified of being average at anything, but you cannot have sovereignty without letting something go. The 2-week calendar cleanse. Block out 14 days. Delete every recurring meeting. Start from 0. Now add back only what survives this test. Does this activity move me toward my top 3 desires? If no, it stays deleted. People will complain. Let them. Their disappointment is not your emergency. Most of what fills your calendar is organizational scar tissue. Meetings that spawned other meetings. Commitments from 3 years ago that nobody remembers why they started. Finally, engineer your enough point. Your brain will never naturally find it. Evolution didn't build a satisfaction switch, so you have to install one manually. Write down a specific definition of success that ends. Not as much as possible. A number, a state, a condition. For income, pick a figure that covers your actual needs plus 20% buffer. Not what your peer group makes, what you need to feel secure. For career, define the role that gives you the autonomy you want, then stop climbing when you reach it. This feels impossible. Your dopamine system will rebel. Good. That's the addiction talking. Real freedom requires withdrawing from the achievement drug. Not forever. Just long enough to remember what you actually want when nobody's watching. Test this for 90 days. Track your time sovereignty ratio weekly. Most people see it flip. 50-50 within a month, 60-40 by day 90. That's not less success. That's different success. The kind that doesn't require you to mortgage your nervous system. You built impressive chains. Now build the key.